Hey, what is going on everybody, and welcome to Fantasia. For today, we're going to be jumping into another session of Epic 7. Now today, got some more Epic 7 World Championship qualifiers for you guys. This time around, we're going to be taking a look at the highlights from the Asia Server tournament that happened last night. So jumping into this right here, we have Edge Dancer on the left side going against Real Life on the right. And Asia Server in past years have been known for their very aggressive draft style, as opposed to the Korean server, which had a more conservative, very bruiser, laid-back tank style, right? But we saw that the Korea server had surprised us. If you had missed out on the Korea server highlights, be sure to check that out on the channel. There were some really nice matches there. But jumping into this match right here currently, we're seeing that kind of the opposite is true for our Asia server qualifiers for this year. Mediator Calwork getting picked out, Apocalypse, Ravi, and Pirate Captain Flan. Kind of interesting here. Mediator Calwork and Apocalypse Ravi are fairly common to see together. Now, C. Lilius did get pre-banned along with Lua, Zio, and Bellion, so a lot of openers are actually not available. With Zio and Bellion banned out, you can actually kind of assume that your opponent's going to be playing a bit more aggressively, perhaps going aggro or cleave. We saw it open up with an Aeola and a Stene, so a lot of souls on the side of Real Life right now, and then they decide to pivot after seeing that Apocalypse Ravi, the Pirate Captain Flan, and go for the Arwell. Next up we got a Celine as well. Now the Celine here is very notable because Celine's actually really good into Pirate Captain Flan. When Pirate Captain Flan S1s and she has a buff, she will use a non-attack skill to help push up the entire team's combat readiness. And that, if she does stun Celine, or if Celine is stunned from before, Celine gets to proc, cleanse herself, and then use her S2. So that is actually really significant here. The other thing is that with the Aeola on the team, you're actually going to get a lot of protection from this Pirate Captain Flan's S3. You can actually cleanse a debuff off of everybody while putting up a skill nullifier, and that's really notable for Spectre Tenebria, right? Aeola and Spectre Tenebria work hand in hand. Yeah, you have to hit Spectre Tenebria with an AoE, but AoEs benefit Aeola for sure. We see Fire Lilius and Fairy Tail Tenebria get picked up on the left side. The Fire Lilius is a little questionable here. I understand why she's picked here because she is a secondary cleanser along with that hand guy as the primary cleanser there with his S3. So you no longer have to have that war where you hold your S3 and Aeola holds her S3, right? You actually have two cleansers there. Fairy Tail Tenebria, really good pick actually into Aeola because while she's immune to stun, she's not immune to provokes. So Fairy Tail Tenebria gonna get banned out there. She was actually pretty good into the first 3 units, but not too great into Celine, and perhaps not the greatest into Ed, of course. But Fairy Tail Tenebria does get banned out here. I guess Real Life was assuming that they were going to be banning the Ed, so banning Edge Dancer's Fairy Tail Tenebria was the correct choice there. You don't want 3/4 of your team to get locked down and debuffed, especially when you don't have a full team cleanser on your side. But what's notable here is that Edge Dancer actually gets rid of the Arwell, which is the damage mitigation for Real Life here. And they have damage hopefully they have damage mitigation of their own in the form of Fire Lilius, but we're not really sure what artifact she is on. Aeola just goes ahead and rips her S3 at the start of the match. We see Fire Lilius going to go ahead and cleanse the Unbuffable, but she's still silenced. So MO Calwork is going to be needed here to cleanse, but we see the Celine just going ahead and using her S2 in response to that Fire Lilius. Gonna go ahead and S3 into that Pirate Captain Flan. Down she goes. Super early in the fight, too. So that Aeola ripping her S3 at the beginning was to force that C. Lilius to use her non-attack skill and then proc the Celine. Celine now has evasion. She's pretty well protected. She has a decent amount of bulk as well, which is kind of nice. And she's gotten her attack buff back up due to MO Calwork's S3 cleansing the team. This Aeola is actually really, really squishy. So you see that dual attack with Fire Lilius. I keep almost wanting to say C. Lilius. The Fire Lilius and the A. Ravi took out pretty much all of her health, so she's not looking too good. Alright, but with Ed going in with his S3 and Spectre throwing hers out too, they're trying to focus down this Fire Lilius because she is actually providing a lot of tempo for the team. She essentially acts as another DPS unit or support unit, right, when she uses her S1 to dual attack. Mediator's S1 is really good for pushing up himself and the team for turn cycling, and Apoc Ravi, of course, is their primary damage dealer here. So, we're going to see the Apoc Ravi go. Now, she could actually slam an S3 into the Aeola. No need to right now, because Pirate Captain Flan coming back wouldn't be too useful, especially with Ed currently on the board. So trying to injury down this Ed is very, very valuable. Alright, this Earth Celine is now going to be taking her turn. Everyone's taking their pot shots at this Fire Lilius, but she is actually pretty tanky and holding her own. Mediator Coward going to go ahead and attack that Celine. I think the Celine is definitely going to be an issue here. Fire Lily is going to go for the S3 though, clearing up this Aeola and finishing her off. This Celine definitely, with that evasion, is quite bulky. She also, if you notice, had about like 12k, almost 13k HP at the start of the match. So she's actually not just pure DPS, she actually has some bulk to her as well. Right, so the Ed and the Spectre Tenebria almost taking out that Fire Lilius there. She is so low with those poison stacks being able to finish her off. Now, the Mediator Cowric does not have his cleanse up, I believe. You can see at the bottom of the screen there. So the Apocalypse Ravi going to go ahead and injury down the Ed some more. Ed is really close to get finished off, and look at that. Fire Lilius falls to the double stacks of poison from the Spectre Tenebria. Really strong against high HP units because it takes a percentage of their health. So, Celine here, notably, actually lost her evasion buff, so now she's actually really vulnerable to some attacks. Ed in Sigurd's Scythe range, going to go ahead and rip his S3. Ed was probably not the best option here with Fairy Tail Tenebria banned out. He doesn't really have much of a use. So he's going to act as a little beat stick here though, going for that Mediator Coward with his S3, turn cycling and that 50% combat readiness. Turn cycling and momentum is really important right now for Real Life because he needs to try to lap this Mediator and this A-Ravi as much as possible. And you can see that Edge Dancer as well, opting to go for an S1 to turn cycle that Apocalypse Ravi instead of going for any buffs or barriers of the sort. Apoc Ravi now going to be cutting that Spectre Tenebria, taking the turn, could actually use her S3 here to finish off the Ed, but unfortunately 3 units are currently down, so there's a 1 in 3 chance of this Apoc Ravi reviving someone that's going to be useful. And we see the Pirate Captain Flan come out. Now, this is actually not the best situation to be in. Obviously, Emo Cowric would not have been a great option to have here. However, this Pirate Captain Flan could be in a bit of trouble with that Celine interaction that I mentioned earlier at the beginning. So we see here, she's going to try and delay everything by putting an S3 up, bombing and burning the opponent. Spectre Tenebria can't soul burn there, notably, or else she would blow up from taking that extra turn. Now Pirate Captain Flan's in trouble though because she has that attack buff on herself, so if she goes for the S1 right here, she will be using her non-attack skill unless she kills. Oh, look at that. The Celine living with the slightest bit of health right there. And she is able to finish off that Pirate Captain Flan. She has an S3 ready. She's going to soul burn with the attack buff going into the Apoc Ravi. That proof of valor helping her hold on for dear life. And we see that poison debuff. Not enough though. Not enough. Apoc Ravi has a soul burn of her own. Is she going to go into the Celine? Yes, she is. Missed. But the Celine gets to live. And the Spectre Tenebria goes down to the bombs from the Pirate Captain Flan. Celine able to smack that. Oh, the Apoc Ravi gets to live from the poison. Look, just 500 health left. Oh, that is just so unfortunate. Man, an Edge Dancer takes that match right there. Exciting stuff. Very close. Alright, so moving on into the second highlight match here, we see Apocalypse on the left side going up against Big Boss on the right. C. Lilius getting picked out real early, first pick, kind of expected to see throughout this entire qualifier period. and she's actually met with a first pick Spectre Tenebria and Last Rider Crow, so that dynamic duo right there getting picked out together is really powerful. ML Cowrick and Apoc Ravi getting picked out. These three units are really strong together, by the way. Very versatile trio, with C. Lilius providing you an opener, ML Cowrick providing cleanses, support, CR pushing, and tempo, and that Apocalypse Ravi just being such a big, beefy beat stick that has injury and a revive. Now, Sharoon is actually really good into Mediator Cowrick and Apocalypse Ravi. However, Sharoon does struggle a little bit against faster units that can debuff her, because most Sharoons are built with effectiveness and not resistance. And even if she is built with resistance, it's typically not enough to resist things like C. Lilius that have 100 to 150 effectiveness typically. So Sharoon is going to get picked out here. She actually does really work well with LRK and Spectre Tenebria. She'll provide that Spectre Tenebria extra buffs for damage and support, the barrier to help shield her from incoming AoEs as well. Now we see Destina get picked up by Big Boss, so double Soul Weavers here. Destina's a little iffy because it actually makes the team really slow, and you see Apocalypse coming in with that 4th and 5th pick, punishing that really slow team that Big Boss has, and he is pretty screwed at this point because Straze can be built 250, 260, 270 speed. With Benimaru's Tachi giving that attack buff, he's still going to nuke that LR Crow. And ML Laika too, being able to kill Spectre Tenebria with her AoE, but also with her S2, she can actually ignore resist, put a target debuff on somebody, and nuke them as well. So probably going to say goodbye to that Destina right there. Spirit Eye Celine going to get banned out. Obviously, you're going to be fighting that first 4 if you're on Apocalypse's side, because you have 2 really strong units here. Now, see, Lilius gets banned out, and I don't think that was the correct play. Destina probably could have done something if this ML Laika was banned out, but look at what happens here. ML Laika going to go ahead and target this Destina, ignoring resistance with that Soul Burn, and going for the S3. This is going to be huge, because this is going to be a 2-for-1. ML Laikas are built, oh, look at that, absolutely disgusting. ML Laikas are built to take out a single unit along with Spectre Tenebria, so that was value. Straze going next with that Benimaru's Tachi, and LR Crow stood no chance. That forfeit came out really quick, and who can blame him? That was a really nice trap-in draft. Alright, so moving on into the next match here. Hazam Array on the left side going against Brother Stone on the right. Stone is actually the E7 World Championship winner from 2 years ago, I believe it was. So very formidable opponent. And Hazam Array, I believe, won the was like legend, top 3 legend in RTA season of last year. So both of these players know what they're doing, and let's see how they play. We see here, very interestingly enough, the first time I believe that Lua was actually not pre-banned. Brother Stone hopping on that opportunity after Hazam Array picks the Spectre Tenebria first pick. Lua and Apoc Ravi coming out real fast on Brother Stone's side. Okay, so we go ahead and see the Luluka come out in retaliation for the Lua. Not the worst option, actually, because you can cut with the Luluka after Lua uses her non-attack skill, and then you can cleanse the team of the Beguiles. You're not going to be able to really do much against the resets if there is a Soul Burn, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case because we have Strazi and Sid getting picked up, and neither of them are mages. Arwa on the left side can be providing some damage mitigation though, however, that Strazi might just mitigate her existence entirely with his S3, with her being the highest HP unit on Hazam Array's side so far. We're going to see 2 more picks here, and whether or not he decides to contest speed is really iffy, mostly because Sid is a speed imprint and usually pretty fast as well, and Lua is usually built pretty quick too. But we see the Spirit Eye Celine getting picked out. Very interesting into a Lua, because Lua could potentially reset her. However, there's always the option of banning that Lua out in favor of fighting the rest of the units. So if you're able to fight that 5th pick unit with really strong generic supports and units right here, we see Hazam Array actually has a very generic standard draft, Spectre Tenebria, a mitigating unit, a healer, and now we see a second DPS in the form of Spirit Eye Celine, and then a support unit with Flitica. So if this Lua gets banned out here, the fastest unit will be Sid, and he's not an AoE unit, which means he can't hit this Flitica if she's on Guiding Light. So I'm assuming that this Flitica and this Lua are going to be the bans. However, it's going to be really difficult to fight a Spirit Eye Selene through an Arwell with the barriers and mitigation there. We see Commander Pavel get picked out on the right side. I love to see it. Want to see some more cleave action. It's obviously very risky to do in a tournament setting, especially with the pre-bans being the way that they are this year. It's really hard to target ban your opponents. So yep, and my prediction is correct here. So Lua gonna get banned out. There's no way that you want to fight Lua with a Spirit Eye Selene, and Flitica being the next fastest unit is definitely gonna get banned out as well. Sid gonna be taking the first turn, and this Spirit Eye Selene is really, really fast, and it's really unfortunate because if the Straze was just a little bit faster than the Selene, he could have actually just nuked that Arwell out of existence. Of course, the Spirit Eye Selene can still revive her, but at this rate, the Straze is not really going to be doing all too much. She's going to go ahead and put her S3 up, and that is going to be pretty much nullifying all the damage that's coming in from the right side units now. Straze going to go ahead and S2 instead of going for the S3, which is a little weird because his S3 can't be countered, but we see here Spirit Eye Selene just absolutely deleting him. It is not too bad though, because with Straze's S2 it actually stripped all of the immortality buffs here, and it allows Commander Pavel to go for the kill. Very, very smart play that honestly I probably wouldn't have seen because I don't play in this very aggressive fashion. Commander Pavel going to be going in with that S3. He can't go for the Spirit Eye Selene because I don't think she's below half of her health here, and so he's just going to S3 the Summer Luluka, and down she goes. Arwell is going to be able to take this turn here, and she probably is going to go for a stun on the Apoc Ravi. There's no reason not to, especially because the A Ravi is going to be a heavy hitting unit. Going to be protecting herself with that barrier, and the Spirit Eye Selene, look at that barrier on her. It's going to be almost impossible for Brother Stone's team to get through that Spirit Eye Selene. So Sid going to go for the S3 on the Arwell, dealing quite a bit of damage, but not nearly enough. Spirit Eye Selene now going to be taking the turn. We can see down below, she's about 100 or so health above the halfway threshold, so there's no way that she would have been able to... there's no way that Commander Pavel would have been able to kill her from earlier. So Spirit Eye Selene goes for the Soul Burn, goes into the Sid. His evasion actually keeps him alive here, but now she's going to go ahead and finish off the Commander Pavel, and healing herself essentially back up to full. She needs to be hit 3 times here because of the escort buff from Arwell in order to be taken down, and I don't know if Brother Stone can do it here because the Spirit Eye Selene is really good into Apocalypse Ravi, especially with that injury helping her out even more with healing up and getting above that 50% threshold. A Ravi's going to go ahead and S3 into the Arwell, going for the revive, and we see the Straze coming out with an attack buff here. Is he going to go for that S3? He really should. No, he doesn't though. He's going to go ahead and S1 into the Spirit Eye Selene, gets attacked, and ooh, that is not looking too good. The skill nullifier is now gone. Spirit Eye Selene is healed back up again, and she's going to rip her S3 and revive everyone back. Even if Straze had went for his S3, Spirit Eye Selene was hot on his heels, and he wouldn't have been able to kill her regardless. So yeah, I think holding on to it was probably just the better option overall. Yeah, but he's stuck between a rock and a hard place, right? So there's really no wiggling out of it. Everyone either has the immortality buff right now, or they, you know, have the ice cream buff on them, so they can heal up if they're hit. And yeah, Brother Stone going to be conceding there to Hazam in that match. Now, we're not done with them just yet. Currently, the score is 1-1. This is round number 3. Game point for both of these players. Another round here that was really notable, I think, and we should highlight. So, Hazam going to go ahead and take that Spectre Tenebria first pick. It's really strange because we're seeing the Asia players this year actually go for more tank down standard comps, and they're really valuing their Spectre Tenebria pick. And as opposed to Korean server, we actually see a lot of Spectre Tenebria alongside A Ravi in a lot of these matches. A Ravi was not really that notable in the Korean server matches, but we're seeing her a lot here. Brother Stone going to go for the LRK and the hand guy in retaliation for the Spectre Tenebria, but then an Arwell comes out, really good damage mitigation unit, along with a Sharoon. Now this is actually interesting. Sharoon's pretty good into both LRK and into the hand guy, being able to lock the hand guy down from being able to cleanse on subsequent turns. Arwell is a great damage mitigation unit, definitely going to be helping that Spectre Tenebria stay alive against that Last Rider Crow, and her stun could actually prove to be quite useful in terms of stripping the immunity or the attack buff that the LRK and the hand guy can grant to an opposing unit. Now most people will probably go for something like an Ice Crow or a Yolha into an LR Crow instead of an Arwell, just to have that potential to use some revenge damage, right? If LR Crow S3s into you, your Blue Crow Yolha is going to be really low on health, you can just S3 something and take them out. But we're seeing a really drastic shift in the draft from Brother Stone here. So Operator Sigrid getting picked up in the 3rd slot and Ahmed in the 4th slot here. This is kind of crazy because, yeah, Hazam team is quite slow so far. This OpSig can definitely make a really big difference. Hazam though said, hey, wait a minute, my Spirit Eye Celine did pretty good previously. Why not go for her here? Spirit Eye Celine is actually not too bad with an Arwell in this situation against an OpSig and LRK, because there's not enough damage to really deal with her directly. Politis, though, is a fantastic pick into Ahmed, essentially nullifying the, well, skill nulls that Ahmed will be putting up on her S2, and stopping the CR pushes that will come out from her S2 and S3, perhaps allowing Politis to cut and put some debuffs on everyone. We see Landy getting last picked here. That's actually quite interesting as well. Landy can really punish the Arwell while reaching the Spectre Tenebria with her AoE damage. There's going to be a lot of buffs on the opponent's side as well from the Sharoon and the Arwell, right? So the Landy can definitely help with that. And while she is weak to Politis, there we go, Landy does get banned out here. While she is weak to Politis, she will be able to push up the entire team quite a bit, perhaps enough to squeeze the Operator Sigrid or the ML Calric past the Politis so that you can try and take her out. But with this current situation here, Ahmed's looking a bit shaky, because if she goes for that S2 and S3, probably on Operator Sigrid, it's the only real attack scaling damage dealer on the other side, you're going to have to risk getting blinded by this Politis and getting that unbuffable on. Perhaps, hey, even the S2 stunning some units. Now, Ahmed does have a cleanse on her S3, so if you do get stunned by the Politis, it should be fine. But here we go, Astral Guide coming out from the Politis, the S2, taking away the skill nulls, not really doing any damage there because of skill nulls, but no debuffs at all. LRK just granted a free barrier here. Ahmed pushing up the OpSig. Is it enough? It is not enough to cut! So we see this attack buff, crit damage buff, Operator Sigrid going up against this Politis. She actually does look like she's DPS because she's under 10k health. Usually degen Politises are 15k, 17, 18k health. You see them very bulky and very tanky. She's going to go for her S3 here, and it will, while not dealing a significant amount of damage, put up the unbuffable and the blind. Now, the Operator Sigrid is really, it's just up to an RNG kill right here, right? 50-50 shot, she takes it, and she hits the ROL. I can't believe that. All right, she's going to go for the S3 because why not here? Let's see if she could take out that Spectre Tenebria that's hiding the backline, and triple crits coming out from the Operator Sigrid. Oh my god, it's only Sharoon left standing, and Brother Stone is gonna take that match. Oh my god, this Operator Sigrid wearing all the symbols of unities in the game. That was insane RNG. Alright, so moving on into the next round here. Pretty typical pre-bans coming out here. See Lilius, Lua, and Bellion. We see Wild Wind on the left and LV on the right side. I believe that's what they go by here. And Spectre Tenebria is going to be the first unit that's picked out. In retaliation, we have Apocalypse Ravi and Hand Guy. It's a very, you know, very diverse meta in this Asia Server Qualifiers here. Arwell getting picked up for damage mitigation, and actually pretty good for stunning the Apocalypse Ravi, kind of locking her down. Ocean Breeze Lulika coming out in response to the Hand Guy. Not the worst option, actually. She can benefit quite a bit from his non-attack skills, and then she can strip the buffs, the immunity, and everything while applying some debuffs of her own. Solitaria going to get picked up on the right side. That's going to be pretty notable here. Haven't really seen it too much in the clips leading up to this, but Solitaria also a very popular pick in the Asia Server Qualifiers. She did wreak some havoc in the Korea server ones as well. Really difficult unit to play around if you don't have the correct supports and cleanses on your side. And most of the popular cleanses, Ocean Breeze Luluka and units like that, Destina, don't have consistent enough cleanses to deal with her constant stream of debuffs. ML Cowrick's pretty good to her, but we see LV actually has both the ML Cowrick and the Solitaria. Pretty scary stuff. Peyra is going to get picked up on the right side, so she is actually going to be helping inflict even more debuffs here. And the escort buff is actually going to help with the damage mitigation while also adding some form of control and tempo restriction to the other side, right? Having the restrict buffs and everything going to be pretty useful. Alright, we see Lionheart Sirmia, though, getting picked out against the Solitaria. Solitaria can't really deal with Lionheart all too well, depending on the combat readiness meter. However, Solitaria can still control her on subsequent turns, so it's very dangerous. Aiden gonna get picked out as the last pick here. Evasion is decent into this team on the right side. Emma Leica gonna get picked up for LV, which I think is gonna get banned out here. I don't think you're gonna let an Emma Leica through with a pretty slow draft like Wild Winds on the left side. But I think the Lionheart Sirmia might get banned out here. Maybe the Spectre Tenebria. But Spectre actually can get reached by this Solitaria and the Peyra, slowly chipping them down. So yep, Lionheart is going to get banned out here. Would have been pretty consistent procs from this Solitaria, especially with that combat readiness boost, making it harder for Solitaria to kind of lock her down permanently, and she will eventually take a turn and probably nuke somebody off the face of the planet. Alright, so moving on into this match here, let's see who ends up going first. We see the Peyra, alright, pretty fast and pretty standard build here. Not a whole ton of HP, but her escort buff is still going to be putting in a ton of work here. She's actually popping the escort buff right away, not even going to be going for an S2. Alright, so Soul Consultation coming out from the Luluka, pushing her up along with her passive, and she doesn't really want to pop that cleanse right now. The debuffs are going to be incoming here, and oh my god! Oh, this Aiden dual attack was huge into that Solitaria. So, not only did that 3% proc, but she landed the unbuffable, which means Solitaria can't get her Daydream buff, and she can't re-enter stealth after her turn. So now she's a sitting duck, and she didn't even get to debuff anybody. Alright, ML Cowrick gonna be going ahead and using the S2, trying to chip down this Arwell, getting a little barrier for that Solitaria, trying to keep her alive here. Don't know, the escort buff there and the barrier probably aren't going to be enough. Solitaria usually doesn't have enough bulk to survive heavy hitting units like this Spectre Tenebria here, along with that Aiden that's hot on her heels. So Spectre going to go ahead and Soulburn, going for the S1 and then the S3. Solitaria was the biggest threat on the right side. She's not going to get taken out though, but this Arwell is definitely going to have something to say about this. She's going to go ahead and stun this A-Ravi, seeing that the Aiden is going to be moving up next, and that is a really smart play. Making sure that Apoc Ravi is controlled is the best way to deal with her. And that's why Arwell is really effective into her as well. We see Aiden coming out and popping that Solitaria. She doesn't get to see another turn there. Zero impact on this match, although she did take quite a few hits to get rid of there. Peyra gonna go for the S1, no stun coming out, and no souls to soulburn with either. ML Cowrick just gonna be turn cycling this A-Ravi. Now LV right now on the back foot here. Wild Wind seems like they have full control of the match currently, and it is just a pretty bad position to be in if you're at LV, because you have zero reach now. Solitaire is the only reach for that Spectre Tenebria, and that A-Ravi has zero reach for this Spectre. She's just going to be able to sit behind this Aiden, which you don't really want to hit, and Arwell and Luluka, who are both fairly tanky support units. It is going to be pretty difficult for this A-Ravi to do anything, and I can't see a world where this Apoc Ravi can solo. Now, you might be able to chip down this Arwell and end up getting a revive later, but even then, it is very, very iffy. Apoc Ravi actually just going to go ahead and do the Hail Mary, throwing out the S3 on the Aiden, critting! Wait a minute, but this Aiden survives! Oh my god, that absolute unit there, Aiden! Wow! Taking that Aravi S3 to the face! The Arwell escort buff definitely helped, but even then, that was a hit, not a miss. And we see that the Aiden still survived with a third of her health left. That's one bulky Aiden. And definitely something you have to watch out for moving forward. Alright, so we got another match against Wild Wind and LV. This is the second round here. We got Hand Guy getting picked out along with Apocalypse Ravi into that Spectre Tenebria. Looks like the same old from the last match. We got Arwell getting picked out and then a Ron. Very interesting little shift from a very tanky team into something a bit more aggressive. Ron does provide a pretty good immunity buff for the team, but he also is really nice for defense breaking everybody, right? And with Spectre Tenebria, he can soul burn that and ignore resistance. We're going to see a Zeo come out to counter this Ron, which is not the worst option. We saw in the Korea qualifiers that Zeo can actually hold up a bunch of damage on his own and chip away at some fairly tanky units. And then the Aiden gets picked out again. I mean, she was working in the previous match. She survived in Aravi S3. What's to say she can't survive a couple of hits here? Briarwitch Assyria, though, getting picked up by LV on the right side, probably to deal with that Aiden. And also, if you're in Guiding Light, you're kind of protected from that Aravi and the Zeo, too. So there's no AoEs to kind of punish her for that. Karina getting picked up here. She's decent into Zeo and into Aiden. Pretty good if you get the defense break on Apocalypse Ravi, but that cleansing from Hand Guy is definitely going to get in the way. Fairytale Tenebria, a force banned there. Getting picked quite often, actually, for the Asia qualifiers, but gets banned out in the end. Briarwitch definitely going to get axed here, because she would have been devastating, especially with that ML Caloric. If he had popped his S3 and Briarwitch soul burns, everything is going away, unbuffables and defense breaks galore. Alright, moving on into the match though. Zeo's going to be taking the first turn here, as usual. And wait a minute. This Ron is slower than the Mediator Caloric. This is a D-Gen Ron. He is on Proof of Valor too. What an absolute unit. Look at the damage that Zeo just did to him. Oh my god. I want to see the HP stat on this Ron, actually. So, Mediator Coward could be following up. Probably going to go for an S2 for some barriers. Yep, there we go. Trying to strip that Arwell there, but she's going to resist. She can actually go for a stun here on the Apocalypse Ravi. Wouldn't be the worst thing to go for, since it kind of pushes up the Apoc Ravi and makes her lose the turn. But no, opts to go for a hit on the Zeo, trying to chip away at that barrier there. Spectre Tenebria gonna go for S3 onto the Apocalypse Ravi instead. Okay, pretty good, actually. Not a bad order of events. You want to hold on to that Arwell stun so that you can stun the Apoc Ravi on the next turn, which also is a pretty good idea here. Aiden gonna be taking the turn, and she's 13k health. I didn't even notice that from the previous match. 13k health, Savior Aiden. And she's gonna just try to chip away at this Ron here. Karina gonna be taking her turn, probably not gonna pop the S3 immediately. Yep, gonna hold it there, trying to go for an S1 defense break and get that Rocket Punch Gauntlet chip damage on that Zeo. Ron is gonna S2, there's no reason not to, because you do get a immunity buff for your entire team. He's not gonna want to rip the S3 here because the Hand Guy is gonna cleanse it immediately. He's coming right up, taking the next turn here, so he'll probably just S1 the Zeo. Yep, there we go, chipping away at him there. And we'll see how much damage Zeo does on his upcoming turn. Mediator's just going to push him up. Arwell just kind of sneaking up as well. And anytime they use a single target attack on somebody else, Arwell's just going to keep creeping up. So Zeo's going to be attacking her instead, chipping away at her health pool. But now she gets to take the turn, and guess what? Apocalypse Ravi is just a sitting duck right there. Emil Cowrick too far behind to help her out. So perhaps this Arwell can actually go ahead and stun her. Yep, that's exactly what he's going to do. Apoc Ravi really weak now to control and stuns ever since Crimson Seed got nerfed a few months back. Let's go ahead and see what the Spectre Tenebria is going to go for here. Oh, opting to go for a Soul Burn. Very nice. Getting rid of the Aiden's counterattack, right? Proccing the S2 there. And probably gonna go for her again. Yes, why not? Ooh, landing a crit on this Aiden. That's gotta hurt. She got the poison debuff on her as well. This is probably gonna force out an S3 from this Aiden. She could go for an S1 and try to heal up some, but the S3 is probably gonna come out here just to help protect the rest of the team. Just in case she goes down, you want to be able to at least get the most value you can out of her, especially with that Ron and Karina incoming. The Ron makes it a bit iffy to S3 because he can use his S3 and strip the invincibility. But she's going to opt to go for the S3 anyway. Karina's going to proc. Okay. And, ooh, this is actually looking pretty dangerous. I don't think Karina wants to pop it here. Yep, there we go. Gonna go straight for the Aiden and pop her. So Aiden's last S3 was actually pretty useful here, helping to keep everyone invincible, at least for the moment. Ron's gonna go ahead and S3, strip everything, and look at that defense break on that Apocalypse Ravi. Super dangerous position to be in, but fortunately this ML Calric is hot on this Ron's heels, and it's going to be taking the turn right after this Arwell goes. Arwell probably going to go ahead and hit the Zeo. Yep, there we go. Oh, that was a huge dual attack there, taking out the Zeo. Now it's just the Apoc Ravi versing this Karina, Stene, and Ron team comp. The bulky Ron definitely caught his opponent off guard, right? Wild Wind falling for that bait Ron play and drafting the Zeo, who actually didn't really offer too much to the whole team comp. And Ron there proving his usefulness, just staying alive, chipping away at everything, and then going for an immense amount of debuffs on his S3. So he definitely forced Wild Wind's entire team to focus him down, which helped the Karina and the Spectre Tenebria just kind of deal damage passively on the side. Spectre is going to go for the hit on the Apoc and the hand guy, and we're probably going to see Karina come in with an S3. She has a defense buff. ML Calric tried to go for that strip, but she usually has enough effect res that she doesn't really care. Going to go for the S3 on the ML Calric, trying to deal some damage to him. The splash damage should be able to kill the Aiden here. Oh, super close though, 3,600 damage, not quite. That barrier actually saving this Aiden. Right, the barrier from the hand guys S2. Apoc Ravi gonna go and soulbird into this Arwell, and we're gonna see she's gonna get taken down. This Aiden still has a skill null from the Apocalypse Ravi's S3, and so now she should be able to heal up quite a bit here from that S1. There we go. 2,000 health, not something super notable. However, we got Spectre Tenebria with that Soulburn there. Ooh, going straight for the Aiden. She could actually S3 into the Aiden, or she can actually go into the hand guide too. Can push back the Aiden and the Apocalypse Ravi. Oh, there we go. Yes, going for the hand guy, just deleting him there. Safest play would have been to do that, just so that the Karina, because the Karina can easily finish off the Aiden, right, if needed. So we're going to see the Apoc Ravi going to soulbird into the Karina. Oh, that's going to take her out. That's unfortunate. And Apoc Ravi cycles out that one-turn defense break Karina put on her. Oh my god! Even without the crit, Spectre would have killed that Aiden. But that was... Oh my god, the Spectre Tenebria on 200 health! Who is going to win? Is she going to be able to finish off this Apoc Ravi? She is! Oh my god, that Apoc Ravi going down there. What a close match! That is absolutely insane. Alright, here we go. Wild Wind against LV. Yet again, this is round number 3. That's right, this entire match was noteworthy. So let's go ahead and take a look at this play here. Again, same very standard stuff that you're seeing here, right? A lot of repeated patterns in people's drafting habits. So we see Spectre Tenebria getting picked out first, really popular among the Asia server right now in these qualifiers. It's just a slam, I first pick Spectre Tenebria down, and then usually met with a hand guy and an A Ravi. Mostly because C. Lilius is banned. But you see the bans getting stacked up here. No Briarwish, no F10As, no C. Lilius or Luas. There's hardly any openers left, well, except for Ron, but we saw what happened in the last match. Alright, Destina and Arwell going to get picked up here. So Arwell, we've seen her used against this Apoc Ravi to some pretty good success, actually. The stun is pretty good for helping control, especially with Spectre's stun as well. Both units be able to essentially make Apoc Ravi lose 2 turns. And the Destina is getting picked out too. Destina is going to be pretty good for supporting the team here. She is good at stopping a lot of momentum from the opponent as well, but we're seeing a Pirate Captain Flan get picked up, and that's actually quite dangerous. Pirate Captain Flan has enough effectiveness in most cases to debuff this Destina, bomb her, and essentially control her for the entire match. We're going to see how that plays out though. A Tywin getting picked up, love to see it. A Tywin can actually kind of help the team out quite a bit. If he gets his Fury buff, if he gets Enrage, then he will be able to ignore resistance on his skills, so he can provoke lock things like the Destina if he wants to, and he can just rip an S3 and just stun everything, along with providing a defense break for his Apoc Ravi to clean things up. We see Ahmed and Aiden getting picked up. Really aggressive turn for the left side here. Ahmed gonna probably get banned out, seeing as LV doesn't really have any fast options. Landy's gonna get picked out here actually. She's probably gonna get banned too? Yeah, because Landy's pretty good into the Aiden and into the Spectre Tenebria. The Landy's uncounterable S3 makes it so that the Aiden can't really use her S2 passive, and of course the AoE getting reset by the buffs from things like Arwell make it easy for her to spam it and potentially kill off that Spectre Tenebria. So Ahmed and Landy gonna get banned out here. Pretty predictable stuff in the draft. These players are kind of sticking to their guns, right? We see a lot of Ravi, a lot of Spectre Tenebrias coming out in this qualifier round. So Handguy actually takes the first turn. Pirate Captain Flan's slower, which is interesting. She's very bulky. Look at that, almost 20k health. Gonna go for the S1 on the Destina. A little res check there. She does resist because she has her Spirit's Blessing buff that gives her an extra resistance for 2 turns at the start of the battle. So Pirate Captain Flan might just need to wait out that buff and then probably see some success in terms of bombing that Destina. A Tywin going to be taking the turn, chipping away at this Arwell, and no provoke there. Most A Tywins are not built with effectiveness, just sheer bulk and speed, so you just kind of sit there and turn cycle your skills. Going for the S3 on the Apocalypse Ravi, we see this time and time again. Apoc Ravi just losing her turns to all of this control. Destina is actually going to push up the Aiden. That's quite interesting. So Aiden can go in S3. She's actually going to go for it right here into this Pirate Captain Flan, and it's going to deal quite a bit of damage, but not enough to get finished off here. Spectre Tenebria can probably finish her off with a Soulburn S1. If she lands a poison, it's pretty much a guaranteed. Yep, there we go. It's a guaranteed S3 kill because her S3 actually does more damage the more debuffs the opponent has. So with that single poison there from that S1, yeah, Pirate Captain Flan. Oh, look at that! She barely survives. Where's her health bar? I can't even see it. Handguy is definitely going to be cleansing that poison off, allowing that Pirate Captain Flan to take this turn here. She could go for a Hail Mary and just slam that S3 and try to bomb everything she can, but then that means that Aiden is going to be a little dangerous to deal with. But let's see what happens. She's going to go for the S1, going to bomb that Arwell, actually steal the barrier. Unfortunately, not able to steal that invincibility. That would have been a really nice buff for that Pirate Captain Flan to have, allowing her to stay alive. But A Tywin gets to go now, and he doesn't really have much he can do at the moment. There is no immunity buffer on the left side, so A Tywin at any point could potentially deal quite a bit of damage and wreak some havoc. A Tywin actually provoked that stunned Arwell there, so he's actually built with a little bit of effectiveness. Quite surprising, but not something out of the ordinary. So now we know this A Tywin could potentially control this Arwell. Spectre Tenebria going to go ahead and finish off that Pirate Captain Flan. She is going to be, really problematic for the left side, right? Especially because Destina's Spirit's Blessing now is gone, so she's returning back to, I would assume, is around 200 something effect resistance. Alright, so we have Mediator Coward going to be taking the turn after this Aiden, and he has an S2 he can put up a barrier with, probably going to go for it onto the Arwell. Just try and chip down the Arwell, get rid of that damage mitigation on the left side. That's probably really important. We're probably going to see the Ravi slam an S3 into this Arwell too, just to try to revive that Pirate Captain Flan. She will come back with a skill null and 100% combat readiness, so even though she died pretty far back in the combat readiness bar, she will be able to immediately take the turn and maybe S3 and bomb and push everybody back. Alright, so the Arwell's going to go for the Ravi, trying to strip some buffs. No strips there. Very fortunate for LV on the right side. And we're going to see the ambitious Tywin go. Is he going to let rip in S3? He is! He misses the Aiden, and that's perfectly fine, because this will proc the Aiden, and you kind of want that before you use your Apoc Ravi to revive. So this is actually really good timing and really good plays here. Apoc Ravi, I don't think oh, she does! She's gonna slam that S3. Very confident in his damage output here. Oh, just barely killing that Arwell. And now Pirate Captain Flan is back. She has her S3 up. She has a skill null for protection, giving herself the attack buff. She hits the Aiden, pushing her back. And oh my god, this Pirate Captain Flan should be able to lap this Aiden now with this Mediator Calrix S1, pushing her up. Look at that. So now what she can do, Destina was bombed, and so now she can get controlled here by Pirate Captain Flan just detonating. You can't resist the detonation of a bomb into a stun. It's on the bomb itself that can be 15%ed. So there we go. Destina getting stunned. Stene actually lost that turn right there, and she's gonna lose her next turn too. She's gonna die to the bomb and the burn that's currently on her. Aiden not able to clear out the skill null earlier, so she can't take out the Pirate Captain Flan. Has to wait another turn. Meteor to Coward gonna be able to S3, get that immunity and the attack buff up for the whole team, and he's gonna turn cycle. That Mediator did the S3 so he can get that 50% combat readiness to lap the Aiden, lap the Spectre Tenebria, and go ahead and take this turn. Destina was stunned, and now A Ravi is probably just gonna go ahead and finish her off. Yeah, there we go. That S1 dealing huge amounts of damage. Now, the other thing is LV has 20 souls in his pocket, so Aiden had already countered with that A Tywin's S3 earlier. Look at this. Pirate Captain Flan has free reign on this Aiden. Even if she misses, Cecilia's artifact can still apply the bomb, and boom! Down goes the Aiden, and the Pirate Captain Flan has another turn here. She can really easily finish off the Spectre Tenebria and just detonate that bomb early. Look at that. Really, really clean comeback. You absolutely love to see it. Wow. That is amazing. Alright, but that actually concludes it for the Asia Server Qualifiers. If you want to see more coverage on the E7 World Championships and the qualifiers and the main matches coming up in later weeks, then be sure to subscribe. If you like what you saw, please leave a like and leave a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite match was of this highlight reel. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.